Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is easily one of the better Harry Potter movies, and I'll tell you why. It's literally the bridge gap between the sort of kiddie Harry Potter movies 1, 2, and kind of 3, but 3 also acts in the darker side. It shows the dark sides of the wizarding world. Don't get me wrong, 2 does that a little bit with the petrifying of people, and only one person so-called dying but off screen. Whereas the third one really illustrates this idea of a serial killer on the loose, this idea that danger is around, and the idea that Harry is in so much danger, and it surrounds him, and there's a lot of foreshadowing of the wolf stuff happening. I think all this built into this film adds that extra dark element, whilst it is still a PG film, and a lot of stuff happening. It seems that this is the first time we're really getting to see death really becoming the forefront of what Harry Potter is, because before the Time Turner stuff, they tried to kill Buckbeak. It's all this sort of stuff that adds up, and it's like, ooh, there's a darker side. You've got the werewolf stuff, you've got the Dementors. The Dementors are horrible sort of creatures. We brought them into the mix. I think all these little things that add up just make this one a darker film. And it's not too far from 1 and 2, where it's like, it's not gone too far yet. But with 4, 5 onwards, that's where we start seeing the real dark sides to when Harry Potter goes to the ultimate, oh my god, types of, there's deaths, there's a lot of depressing stuff that happens in there. The films are still great and entertaining, but they're different vibes. The earlier ones feel more childish and easy to watch through, whilst the later ones feel more adultish and feel more darker. And the best way to put it is, with the change with Richard Harris's Dumbledore to Michael Gambon's, it's a different change. It feels like a different kind of vibe. And in this film in particular, I don't think Richard Harris would have been able to play the role Michael Gambon did, and making Dumbledore seem very on edge as he was. The danger element, don't get me wrong, he played that well in Chamber of Secrets, Richard Harris, but I don't think he had that sort of know-it-all where to carry on the franchise in this deeper, darker role, because he looked like somebody's granddad or somebody's uncle sort of vibe in 1 and 2, whereas in the third one, I feel that Dumbledore has a darker edge to him. I think if you're just looking on the story though, I think it really feels more complex, and I think if you agree with me and think this is one of the better Harry Potter movies, you're probably thinking it's either between 2 or it's between 3. In my opinion, those are the best 2. And the reason why is because the story is more, there's complex stuff happening, there's a bit of mystery going on, like in this one with Peter Pettigrew. Apparently he's meant to be dead. How is he still alive? And then it turns out to be Scabbers. These little things like that are what make the story more complex and more interesting. But it's when I say complex, that doesn't mean it's complicated. That just means it's more complex, there's more stuff going on. But to go down the route of telling the story of Batman like this is the story of Harry Potter, and we're getting to see more of the complex nature of who Sirius Black is, how he links to Harry, and everything like that. And that explanation was fantastic, as well as integrating those things into the story of not only the Sirius Black killer on the loose. You've obviously got the idea that Buckbeak could get killed. You've got all these little events that keep going and fitting into place. And also, where does Lupin fit into this? Where does Sirius Black and Harry's mix come into it? How does Voldemort link into all of this? And it all sort of comes round and links into one ball. And it turns out that Peter Pettigrew killed those people, framed Sirius Black. Sirius Black went to prison. And it looked like Sirius Black had basically turned the back on the James Potter and Lily Potter, even though he didn't. That was wrong. Peter Pettigrew did. And I think this sort of stuff, I think, just adds to the story. And adds to the idea that from what you see in minute 1 isn't what the final outcome is. You're seeing the film as if Sirius Black is a dangerous guy, but that's what you've been told. But when the film progresses, the film gives us more details. It's like, hang on a minute, we've been getting this all wrong. Sirius Black is actually a good guy, but he's been framed, and Peter Pettigrew, the seemingly unknown face, is seemingly the guy who did all of this, and he's been in 3 films and we haven't really noticed because he's been a side character with the rat of Scabbers owned by Ron and the Weasley family. But no, I think all that is fantastic, as well as the Time Turner stuff. I think that was so really, really cool, because I think that is something that felt magical. It felt like, oh, we're seeing the movie now from a different angle. We're seeing the movie being played twice. In basically, when you watch it through up to where Ron gets his leg injury and then they use a time turner, you're seeing how certain events happen, like the wolf howl that suddenly distracts Lupin and runs away. You're looking at the snail that gets chucked through Hagrid's window and smashes the plant pot. These sorts of things, now we have explanations of how those happened and why they happened and who was the other guy, or who was the person at the other end of the river that cast the Dementor spell. It turns out it's Harry, and all this sort of stuff is basically Hermione's time turner system. And I think it's just so good seeing the film in two different perspectives get the outcomes that they want of Buckbeak staying alive and saving Sirius Black. Those were brilliant. And I also want to say that this film with the other magical stuff that happens. One, you've got Ian Brown from the Stone Roses just stirring a cup of coffee in the leaky cauldron, which is bonkers. But you've got the 3-tier bus, in which is the triple-decker bus, in which adds to the magic of Harry Potter, plus several other things. I think all these sorts of things in Harry Potter 3, more picture frames that talk and stuff like that. I think this was just one of those occasions where everything came into it and it was brilliant. The villains was brilliant, and because it sort of didn't have one, but it did, because it showed that Sirius Black was the villain, but he actually wasn't. And really, your villain was Peter Pettigrew, but he doesn't really act like a villain. You could say the werewolf is a little bit of a villain. You could say Cornelius Fudge is a bit of a villain. And we haven't even mentioned the fact that he blows his aunt up at the beginning of the film into like a massive helium balloon. To summarise, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, 9.2 and a legendary film. Do let us know your thoughts on this particular Harry Potter movie down those comments down below. And if you haven't yet seen our Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets movie review, then you definitely need to go watch that video right now.